I am super excited because this is the first time I've done a live show in a long time. Michael, when is the last time we did a live show? I don't even remember.
Years and years and years and
Years.
years ago.
And there are reasons for that. And hopefully none of those reasons will become apparent today. I am super excited to welcome.
I'll try to keep all my clothes on this thing.
I am Anna Jaworski, and the mother of Joseph Jaworski, who is here today, and his sister Hope, who was born with a single ventricle heart. And that's Risen. I'm the host of your program. Today's show is a huge departure from the kind of Heart to Heart with Anna show that we normally do. So after attending Podcast Movement, friends, in 2024, we decided to shake things up a bit. And once a month, I'm going to start doing a live episode with a studio audience that allows for questions and answers and honest conversation. And Heart to Heart with Anna usually only features one or two guests. So to have a whole studio full, this is super exciting, and it'll be fun to see how it goes. I have a wonderful producer today. Spencer, wave your hand at everybody. There we go. Spencer is here. Spencer is also in Texas, but not in Temple, all the way over in Austin, Texas. And Spencer will be the producer today. The other change is that aside from the putting and the closing of the show, everything else is unscripted, folks. We're going rogue. So this is going to be putting all of my Toastmastering skills to the test. And for those of you who are Toastmasters, basically this is going to be one gigantic table topics session. But it'll be a lot of fun. There's Lauren. Hi, Lauren. Oh, my goodness. And Veronica, I have not had a chance to meet Veronica yet. Veronica is Regina's sister. So welcome, Veronica. We have amazing people here today. I would like to say a quick welcome to everybody. See, I'm going off script already, Spencer. I just want to say a quick recognition. Hello to everybody in my studio audience. And I know some of you can only stay for a short time and you have to go. So I do want to be able to say hello and welcome you for what time you are here. So is it Anna or Anna Tanvir?
Hi, it's Anna Tanvir.
Hi, Anna. Welcome. And this is your first time on Heart to Heart with Anna. So welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me here tonight.
Well, I'm super excited. I'm hoping this will just be the first time and that Anna will be coming back again soon. She has offered to help me make our very first program in Urdu. So,
yes, of course.
Isn't that awesome? I'm super excited.
That's amazing. Yeah.
I know. Michael's a little green over there with MB because he doesn't have a show in Urdu for Buri, but still me yet. But that's okay.
No, but I do have another language. I mean,
you do.
I have two programs in Hebrew. Yeah.
So welcome to Michael Lieben, who is the host of Bereaved But Still Me. It was a Heart to Heart with Anna spinoff. Used to be Heart to Heart with Michael. Now it's Bereaved But Still Me, so people in the bereaved community can find it. And Michael just recently had open heart surgery. So welcome to the program. I'm glad to see you're well enough to be here today, Michael.
Well, I'm well enough to sit down. That's something.
Okay,
it hurts when I laugh.
We're going to make you laugh to keep those lungs out. It'll be a good thing, Michael.
It hurts. Okay.
On the way from Scotland, we have Ayrton Beatty, who I absolutely adore. They help me with so many things with the CHC podcast. But I just had a little bird plant to seed say, hey, what about a show for me on Heart to Heart with Anna? And I think that's an awesome idea. So we're probably in 2025 going to be doing an episode on drug-induced QT syndrome, which I had never heard of until I met Ayrton. Welcome to Heart with Anna today, Ayrton.
Thanks for having me back on it.
Love having you here. And then we have Regina. Regina, I'm going to let you introduce yourself while I get a sip of water because my throat is yucky.
Hi, I'm Regina, and I have a 3-year-old daughter named Aubrey that was born in Trio that had DiGeorge syndrome and she has TFO APV. And I've been just recently on Heart to Heart with Anna for DiGeorge syndrome. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's the first episode I did completely devoted to DiGeorge syndrome. So thank you for doing that. And thank you for being here today. Rachel.
Thank
Rachel,
you.
all the way from Indiana, and was also on the show recently. Gosh, I think you girls were almost back-to-back shows. So Rachel, do you want to introduce yourself, sweetie?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Rachel. I was previously on Heart to Heart with Anna, but back in August, we did complex HLHS with a little broader spectrum of topics, and it was so much fun.
You were amazing. I loved having you
Well,
on the
thank you.
program. And Chris Atherton, my dear
you.
friend. Oh my gosh, Chris, how long have we known each other, love? I think it's been over 20 years.
A long time.
I'm so happy to have you back on the program. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Chris Atherton, and we have a large adopted family, and 6 of our children were born with heart defects. And we've lost 2. We had a baby that we were adopting who died at 8 weeks old, and our daughter Becca died when she was 26 years old, almost 6 years ago.
And Becca was amazing. I loved Becca so much. She was on Facebook. She was very active on her blog and on spreading awareness of congenital heart disease. She and I had in common that we both loved American Sign Language, and she contributed several pieces to my latest book, The Heart of a Heart Warrior. And we actually chose to feature one of her pieces at the front of the book. So I'm so happy to have you here today, Chris.
Yeah.
And the person who helped me so much with the book is Lauren Elizabeth. Oh my goodness, I don't know what I would have done without Lauren. She is the one who did all the interior design, and she made the cover for the book when we had 3 separate books out of the one big one. And so, welcome. Lauren, do you want to tell a little bit about yourself, honey?
Yes. So as Anna said, I help Anna with a lot of the Heart Unite the Globe things, whether it's website or podcast work. And I am 32 with HLHS.
We have a lot of HLHS people here today, so that's really exciting. Tracy, this is your first time to be on the program. Welcome to Heart with Anna. And do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi. So thanks for inviting me. This is awesome. And I love hearing all of your guests and how they're all also heart warriors themselves. I am a mom of a heart warrior. My son was born with aortic stenosis and then ended up with a leak because they did the balloon cath, which caused other problems. So he's now 11 and has had 3 heart surgeries, 2 open heart. I recently wrote a book, and that's how I met Anna, about his journey from a mom's perspective on going through that with him.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that Tracy will come on the podcast and we can learn more about her book. That would be so exciting.
That would be awesome.
So, welcome, Tracy. Joey,
Thank you.
You're next, baby. Tell everybody who you are.
Hello, my name's Joseph Jaworski. I'm Anna's son. So I've been witness to all of her activities in the heart community for pretty much my whole life. My little sister was born with HLHS, and I just had a ringside seat this entire time. So I'm here currently learning more about podcasting myself. So my mom invited me on so I could see all the cool stuff she's got going on and hopefully glean a little bit of knowledge about how to progress myself.
Yes, I'm super excited, friends, because Joey is going to start his own podcast. Is that not the coolest thing? Joey's been on Heart to Heart with Anna. Gosh, Joe, 2, 3.
I think it's 2 times. 2 times I've been on. Yeah.
Talking about being a sibling, someone with a congenital heart defect, and he always is so well spoken. Poor baby. Not only has he had a ringside seat to all the hard stuff I've been doing, he got dragged to all my Toastmasters meetings when he was a kid because I was a homeschooling mom. So Joey knows a lot about Toastmasters as well. So welcome.
Er, Sorry.
Michael has not been to my Toastmasters meetings.
I'm going to get me a clicker.
Amy Cunningham, welcome to Heart with Anna, sweetie.
Hi, thanks for having me. I am Amy. I'm from Ohio, and I am 40 with HLHS. I've got to speak to Anna a little bit previously, and I also have my own podcast called Diaries of a Heart Warrior. I just started January of 2024. So it's been exciting getting to meet new people and see new faces and learn about other people's stories and their journeys. It's just been really eye-opening and really enlightening.
And I can't wait to be a guest on your show. Amy,
I know, we got to get that done.
I know it's going to be so much fun. Okay, Amanda, can you turn your camera on, sweetie? I want to see your face. I'm so excited. The last time I saw Amanda, she was in the hospital waiting for her transplants, and I was praying so hard for you. So I'm so happy. Congratulations. I know. Oh my gosh, you were so pale. You were so pale when I saw you.
Yeah. My name is Amanda. I live in Ohio, and I'm still recovering from heart and liver transplant. I am exactly 5 months out now, and I have a bad foot now. A lot of things had happened during transplant that just kept going wrong, and now recovering at home has been a little more difficult, but I'm here.
You're here and you're smiling, which I love to see. And I'm just so happy that we're on the other side now. And you will recover because you are a strong, resilient woman. So I'm super excited to see you today. All right, Veronica, I haven't really had a chance to meet you as much as I would like to. So are you able to turn your camera on or not? Veronica?
Hello.
There we go. Hey, Veronica. Welcome. Can you introduce yourself to us, sweetie?
Veronica, Regina's sister. My niece has DiGeorge syndrome, and I'm just trying to learn more.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And she actually listens to Heart with Anna, which I love it when other family members listen so they can learn more about congenital heart disease and become an even greater advocate for the cause. So now we've met everybody who's here right now. We will probably be having a couple of other people who will join us as they are able. Annie Oldchick will be joining us. I'm super excited about that. And oh my goodness, I think we have maybe one or two others who might be joining us. Not everybody's been a guest. Some of you have been a guest. Maybe now that you have been, you have a question. Joey's talking about starting his own podcast, so he may have a question as well. Now is the time for Q&A. I know Regina has a question, so I'm going to call on Regina first. Regina!
Okay. Question 1. What is your favorite thing about Heart to Heart with Anna?
Okay. What is my favorite thing about Heart to Heart with Anna? It's this. It's getting a chance to talk to so many fabulous people from all around the world, doing all different kinds of things in the heart community, learning so much from all of you. You all teach me so much. And then there are people like Michael who make me laugh. Every time we get together, I know I'm going to have a chance to laugh. I also know sometimes when I get together with you, I might be doing a little bit of crying, and that's okay because Michael and I believe that tears shared or sorrow shared is divided and that joy shared is multiplied. And I love that about Heart to Heart with Anna. I get a chance to hear the most amazing stories and meet the most amazing people. So that is definitely my favorite thing. Chris raised her hand.
I wondered how doing the podcast has changed you.
Oh, wow. Joey may be better at answering that than I am. I think one of the ways that has really changed me, and Joey can confirm or deny this, is when I started 11 years ago, I knew nothing about podcasting. In fact, I didn't even know we had a podcast. That may sound really stupid, but when Josh Bernstein called me, he said, "Hey, Anna, have you ever thought about having your own internet radio show?" So that's what I thought I had. I thought I had an internet radio show. And then a couple of years after I had been podcasting, I found out that it wasn't really a radio show because I'm not associated with any radio station, that it was actually a podcast. So I learned a new vocabulary term and a whole new world opened up to me. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I think that definitely what I've seen is a crazy level of commitment. I mean, you've always been committed to your cause, but watching you be committed to this process and constantly having new content and being able to engage with a lot of different people has been a big change that I've seen in you.
Thank you, Joey. Did you have another question, Chris?
I just wondered, is there a podcast or a guest or a topic that surprised you the most that you thought, wow, something like that? Yeah.
Oh, gosh. She's really putting me to the test. I just released episode 461, and I've been doing this for 11 years. So, what has surprised me? You know what I think surprised me the most, Chris, is when people like Dr. Edward Bovee and Dr. Fred Wu came on my program, and they were so down to earth and so excited about sharing their knowledge with the whole community. I mean, these men make a lot of money per hour, and they came on my show free just to be there for all of us. I've had amazing doctors. Those are just two that pop to the front of my mind, but I've had way more than that. And some of the nurses, I'm sure you can agree with this, that we have way more contact with the nurses when we're in a hospital than we do with the doctors. And to see how they too were willing to give me their time and to come forward and be so loving and so giving on the podcast, that has really warmed my heart. So I think that kind of surprised me. I didn't think it was going to be hard to get parents on the program. I was delighted to see so many adults with CHD who were willing to come on the program. I always learn from them, and it's always been inspiring to me because that was my big dream, was to see my baby grow up to be an adult. But to see the doctors, the nurses, I've had a pharmacist on the program and all of these other related areas, to have them come on the show. I had a great guy come on one time that works with medical devices. And he came on and talked to me about all the medical devices that his company has created. And that was really exciting to me to see so much sharing that has gone on. I think that's been a little surprising to me. The depth of compassion that people have shown has just been heartwarming. Good question. Really good question. Amanda. Amanda has a question.
I'm going to agree with your son on this one. You do have crazy commitment, like off the rails crazy commitment. And I got two questions actually. The first one is, where do you see yourself in 5 years of like different projects? What would you like to accomplish in 5 years?
Oh my gosh. 5 years. Usually I have a 5-year plan, don't I, Joey? But I haven't made a 5-year plan recently. Okay, this may be pie in the sky, but I dream big, and that's why all of you are here. I would love to see me being ahead of not just 3 podcasts like I am right now, but I would love to have a real network with more foreign language shows. We have a Spanish podcast. It's on hiatus right now because unfortunately, one of the hosts lives in Puerto Rico, and poor Puerto Rico has been hit by one natural disaster after another, and she doesn't have reliable internet. So we haven't been able to do any recordings in a while, but we're hoping to come back next year. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we can put together a reliable team and come back. Anna was here, but she had to leave because she was exhausted. But Anna is wanting to do a show in Urdu with me. And I just think it would be amazing to have a podcast. Oh, no, Anna is still here. So, Anna, not trying to put you on the spot, honey, since you haven't even been on the show yet, but I think it would be amazing to have a show that's just dedicated to Urdu. It's one of the most spoken languages, and yet I've never done a show in Urdu before. And to maybe be the executive producer of a program in Urdu. I would love to have one in one of the African languages, and I'm super excited that I am going to be producing an episode here soon, if not by the end of this year, early next year, that will be in my first African language. So I'm super excited about that. We have been talking about doing that for, oh my goodness, 2 or 3 years, and it just has never come to fruition, but it's going to. It's going to happen. And again, this is another language that's widely spoken on another continent. They had very little in the way of educational opportunities for them or having a platform to share their stories. So I think in 5 years, I would love to say that the Hug Network, which is for Unite the Globe, that we're really uniting the globe by producing more podcasts in foreign languages. Thank you for stretching me. That was a real stretch to make me talk about that. And did you say you had another question?
Yes. What is the craziest episode you had that you wished that you didn't do?
Oh my gosh, hands down. I did a live episode. I haven't done live episodes in a long time. Oh my goodness. I was traveling with Frank and we were on the West Coast. And I said to Frank, I have to do my podcast. Now, this was in season 2. I was using Blog Talk Radio to produce my episodes. So I couldn't schedule anything. Way back then, you couldn't produce something and then schedule it to go out. You had to be there. You had to push the button. I was doing a live show. I was in a coffee shop and we lost internet. It was awful. So yeah, that was definitely hands down the worst episode. I wish I hadn't tried to do it, but I can laugh about it now. I was not laughing about it then. I was mortified.
That's when you
Okay.
have to send in the interpretive dancers.
Yeah, there were no interpretive dancers.
Well, see, you just weren't
Dead
prepared.
air.
One of
I
the
was-
things you learn by doing it, you have to be prepared, right? So now if there's dead air, we just snap and the dancers come in and until we get it back.
There you go, Michael. Amy has a question.
So I kind of have 2 questions as well. The first one is, how do you choose your guests and your topics?
Okay, that's a great question. And when I first started a million years ago, and I was in season 1, when Josh Bernstein called me and asked me if I wanted my own internet radio show, he said, what would your topics be and who would your guests be? At that time, I was writing a regular blog. And it was really easy for me to come up with topics because I chose the topics that I wrote about on my blog. And immediately, certain people's names were coming to the forefront of my mind. So that was really exciting. For season 1, I just reached out to some of the many wonderful people that I've known over the years. But as time went on, the exciting thing was people started coming to me and saying, Anna, I heard this episode. Have you ever considered, like Regina, doing a show on DiGeorge syndrome? And I hadn't done one on DiGeorge syndrome. So it was so exciting to me when she reached out to me and said, have you ever thought about doing this? I was super excited to have her on the program to talk about her daughter and not only her daughter, but her husband, who also has DiGeorge syndrome. So I thought that was really interesting and unique. And Ayrton just reached out to me and said, hey, have you ever thought about doing a program about drug-induced long QT syndrome? Well, but guess what? Now I will be doing an episode on that because I know the perfect guests to come on the program. So I think I've just been super blessed, Amy, that I've had absolutely wonderful friends like Chris, like Michael, like so many other people, Lauren and Amanda, who I've had the pleasure of meeting in person. And when I've asked them if they would like to be guests on the program, I very, very seldom receive a no as a response. Almost always it's yes, when can I do it? And that has just been one of the great joys of my life. And you
And
had a
then
second
my
question?
Yeah, so my second one's kind of a follow-up. So after like 400 and some odd episodes that you've done, how do you continue to keep your content fresh?
That's an excellent question. And Michael can verify this or deny it if I'm wrong, but I've been going to Podcast Movement, which is one of the largest podcasting conferences, I think, in the world, every year for the last 8 years. And that for me is my continuing education. I go to it every year. I come away with a million ideas. In fact, that's how Ayrton and Annie and other people have come to help me with the CHC podcast, because while I was at Podcast Movement, I decided, hey, I need to do a new podcast with a different format than what I'm doing with Heart to Heart with Anna, and the CHC podcast was born. So going to Podcast Movement helps me to stay abreast of what's new in the podcasting universe, because things are always changing. I'm sure you've seen that. Even though you've just started at the beginning of this year, things are always changing in the podcasting realm. And I need to be on top of that. I don't do a whole lot beyond Podcast Movement, except one of the hosts for Heart to Heart with Anna is Buzzsprout. And every 2 weeks, Buzzsprout puts out a podcast called Buzzcast. And in that podcast, they talk about what's new and up and coming in Buzzsprout, as well as what is new and up and coming in the podcasting universe. And I also listen to Joanna Penn's podcast, which is about writing, but she's also a podcaster and she talks about podcasting. So those are the ways that I keep on top of what's happening in the podcasting world. And I'm always getting ideas for how to improve my episodes of my show. And I also have a wonderful Facebook page that is devoted to Heart to Heart with Anna. And I have the best guests and I have the best listeners in the world. I will throw polls out there and ask them, what do you guys want to see come up next year? Or I'm struggling here. Can you guys help me? And they're so good at answering my questions and taking polls to let me know what they would like. And that's why you guys are here today, too, because in the second segment, you'll be telling me what you would like to hear more about. I'm going to take a short break. And when we come back, I am going to be talking to you about the topics that you want to hear in 2025. And then in the third segment, I'll answer any other questions. So although this is a live show, I am going to thank our newest Heart to Heart with Anna sponsor. Thank you to HeartWorks. For those of you who don't know about HeartWorks, it's a nonprofit organization whose mission is to find a cure for congenital heart disease. So stay tuned, because later this year, we'll be featuring an episode where you can learn even more about HeartWorks. As most of you know, Heart to Heart with Anna is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. This is just a live discussion by members of the congenital heart defect community, and the opinions expressed in this episode are not those of Heart Unite the Globe, but of me and my guests. And our discussion today is just to help me in planning 2025 and to answer questions that you all may have about the podcast. That's a rendition of the disclaimer that the board likes me to put on every episode, because we don't want people to think that what we're talking about is medical advice. I do want to know what topics you would like for me to address in 2025. I have my yellow tablet here. I am ready to take notes. So, Ayrton, I'm going to let you go first.
Here comes the to-do list. Be careful.
Yeah, as you know, especially if you listen to the CHC podcast, I have drug-induced QT syndrome, and not a lot is known about that. And I was wondering if you'd be interested in doing an episode on that.
They absolutely would. So my question for you would you like to come on as a solo guest, or would you like me to try to find a doctor who could come on with you to maybe answer some questions you may have about drug-induced LQTS?
I'd be happy to do it whichever way you felt would work best.
Do you have some questions that your doctors have not been able to answer for you?
None of my doctors have answered questions about it.
Okay, so with your permission, I would like to try and find a cardiologist who understands drug-induced QT syndrome. I'll reach out to my medical advisory board and see if they have a recommendation on who would be an excellent cardiologist to come on and maybe give us some education about this condition and what can be done about it.
Yeah, because all I know is that it can be a side effect for a lot of medication, but a lot of people don't know it can happen. But I also know it does have a genetic component as well.
Absolutely. Oh, you know what? Since you said that, I have two really great geneticists who have been on my show in the past. I'll reach out to both of them. Great. Super. Does anyone else have a suggestion for a different kind of show? And let me welcome McDidier. Yes, McDidier made it to the program, and so is Annie Alcheck. So welcome, ladies.
Hello. Sorry, I'm a little late.
That's okay. I'm so happy you're here. Welcome, Meg.
Hi there. How are you?
I'm excited. How's Lucy?
She is quite in the background right now, which is why I am off camera and muted. So if you hear her, I apologize. But she's doing great.
Oh, that's so awesome. Okay, so 2 more HLHS survivors here with us. I am looking for topics for 2025. Can you not believe that we're already in autumn? I just can't believe it. Time has just flown. Okay, Tracy.
Okay, so I am new to your podcast, so I don't know if you've already maybe done something, but was curious if you would be interested in doing a podcast dedicated towards queer moms that are raising CHD children.
That is an excellent suggestion.
That's been my experience. And like I said, I wrote the books from my perspective. Then, literally the same month that my son was born, I was promoted to a higher level position. And so his whole CHD journey, I was climbing that career ladder and all of the things that come with that, along with his battles. So I'm sure
Wow.
I'm not the only experience as that.
That's an excellent subject. And believe it or not, even though I have done, 461 episodes, I've never done one on that specific topic. So, see, Amy, this is how my guests and my topics end up coming to my podcast. This is awesome. Yeah, that's brilliant. I would love to do that. And I would love for you to be the guest if you don't mind. Do you want to be the only one, or do you want me to try to find a couple of others? Because, like you said, I'm sure you're not the only one.
Yeah, I would be honored. And if there are others, it would be wonderful because I know when I was starting out, that was something that I looked for and couldn't find, and you're always trying to find support and others that have been through it. And so it's always to hear, like, how did they get through it?
Yeah, and it might be fun to have you on there and a dad, because this is something that the dads struggle with so much is I have to be the provider for the family. I'm providing the insurance. How can I do that? And my kid's in the hospital. It really is a great challenge. There are times like with you where the mom is also the provider, but in my situation, my husband was the provider. And the worst part is that he had just taken paternal leave because we had a new baby. We didn't know in utero. We didn't know immediately after birth. So he took the maximum time he could to be home with the baby. And then 2 months later, we found out we had a baby who needed open heart surgery. So that was a real challenge for my husband. In fact, Frank might be the perfect person.
Well, and that's very true because, like, my husband, the job that he had, they didn't pay for vacation and we had older children. And so we had to always divide and conquer. One was at the hospital, one was at home, so it's a battle. And then I know some parents, it becomes too much and it breaks their marriage.
Yes, I have seen that so much over the years. It breaks my heart. But yeah, it's a great stressor. Amanda. Amanda has an idea for a show.
I've got 2, actually. This one came from another CHDer that had reached out. One about transgender in the CHD world. And then the other one was CBD and THC.
Okay, honey.
And
I know you and Joey know what this means, and probably everybody else does with me. Is that marijuana or? Okay, so see, I kind of almost.
Yeah.
That right, Michael? Don't look like that. Okay, what aspect of that is like something as healing, as
Yeah, like
recreational, or
to help with like anxiety and pain.
okay, anxiety and pain? Okay, I'm taking notes. That's good. I have done a transgender episode because I actually have done
Okay.
2 because my daughter is transgender. And she actually came out on my program to the whole universe. In fact, she came out where she hadn't even told some of my family members. Which was, that was something. I probably can't do enough episodes. In fact, that may be something in the future, is having a program that deals with CHC and the LGBTQ community. They could definitely have their own program. They have their own concerns, especially when they're going through the transition process, not just people that are trans, though, also people that are gay or lesbian. I know I did an episode with a doctor who was gay, and he came on the program and talked about how he was told he couldn't be a pediatric cardiologist because he was gay. And if you haven't heard his episode, it was very, very touching. I just wanted to bawl through a good part of that episode because I couldn't believe people would be so unkind to him when he had such a noble inspiration, and he did it despite them. And he's just phenomenal. I'll make a note to put those episodes in the show notes because I think those are two of my better episodes. So thank you. Those are excellent suggestions. Michael.
Yeah, we talked about siblings before. That's not new, but I think what we didn't talk enough about was from a parent's perspective. You have a child with CHD or more, and you may have other children and what it means to them. I think, speaking personally, I think we, in some sense, robbed my other two children of a piece of their childhood. I think we grew them up very early to help out because we needed help. There was a point where I could no longer help with Liel. I could no longer bathe her. Sapir and Liel went to school together. So it meant that Sapir couldn't go home with friends, but she had to come home every day to be with Liel. So she missed a lot of her own personal friendships and relationships that kids in elementary school and in junior high school need. And as a parent, we did that. Now, the upshot is it has a happy ending. Today, both of my other children are adults, one of whom is already a father. They're both married and they're both marvelous adults. And that you can't take away from them. They're just amazing people. But I feel that getting there as a parent may not have been the best way to do it, but we had no other choice. I'd like to talk about that from a parent's perspective.
I love that idea. I think one of the things as an educator, and you were a teacher as well, so you know what
Yep.
I'm talking about. You worry about what the long-term effect of some of your actions are going to be on your children. And unfortunately, we don't find out for 20, 30 years.
I wish
whether
I
or
had
not
the
what we did
luxury
was
of
right.
time. I
know.
wish I had the luxury of time to worry about that. I couldn't worry about it. I said, you do this and you do that. And you have to be home and you have to be home. And sometimes one of them was more compliant than the other, but they did what they could. They did what they could. And then there were episodes where they were home alone with her, where they dropped the ball, right? They were home
Yeah.
alone with her. They're not a lot older than her. And things started going on in another room that they didn't notice. And that was sometimes very dangerous. But as a parent, we haven't talked much about this. I know my kids were on talking about that as siblings,
Yeah.
what it meant to them.
Right. They did.
But
They
I
were
think,
wonderful.
well, thank you. But I think as a father, I need to
Share your story.
share the story. But I think I also need, in some sense, and I have over the years, apologize to my other children. I mean, I'm very happy with the results and I'm very happy that they are who they are. And part of who they are and part of how they got this way was our doing what we did. But I believe at the time that we were stealing a piece of their childhood. We needed them to grow up faster. We needed help. In some sense, that's a very noble thing. But in some sense, I feel real bad about it.
Okay. I would definitely love to do that episode. I think that would be amazing. Amanda,
Medical PTSD.
from what perspective would you like that? Would you like for me to have a psychologist or psychiatrist come on and talk about that? Or would you like for me to have people like you who have experienced it and maybe talk about what your situation has been like?
I think parents and patients, and then maybe do another episode with a psychiatrist, or you can bring them all three on the same time.
Oh, no, I think your idea to begin with, having two separate shows would be,
Yeah.
yeah,
That'd
yeah,
be more deal.
yeah, because
Yeah.
then you can get into it a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
Especially if I could get Lisa Morton or Tracy Levesque to come on. They're heart warriors who are also practicing in that space. So I think they could give a really unique perspective to dealing with medical PTSD. What do y'all think of that? And they just wrote an amazing book that deals with that topic. Maybe I can get a vote on. I tried to do that before, but they were out promoting their book and they weren't able to do it. It's really hard. And Ayrton can appreciate this because Lisa's in Scotland and Tracy's there, Connecticut, I think it is. I think that would be great. What do y'all think about that? Does that sound good? I'll reach out to them. Okay. One more thought, Ayrton, and I have to take a quick break, love.
Sudden arrhythmic or sudden cardiac death syndrome.
Yes, I did do an episode on that a million years ago. So yes, it is fine. Yeah. Yes, but I did one with a gentleman who had experienced sudden cardiac death of his mother. And then he ended up having a heart attack. He ended up having multiple heart attacks. And he started a nonprofit organization to try to determine what the gene is that may be causing this problem. But that was years ago. So yes, sudden cardiac death, that's actually an excellent topic for me to revisit.
Yeah, because the episode I was on talking about my brother because he was with sudden cardiac death syndrome.
Yeah. Yeah. It's something that we have to continue to promote awareness. In addition to doing the one with Ben, I also did an episode where I talked to somebody who started a nonprofit organization to put AEDs in schools in Texas. And that has been something that there are other nonprofits out there who have that same goal. And I just think we can't applaud those people enough. We can't put enough light on those organizations because what they're doing is so critically important. So yes, excellent suggestion. I will definitely take that into consideration. I just discovered recently a new nonprofit that's doing that. So maybe I'll reach out to them and give them a chance to tell their story. Okay, friends, this has been awesome. I have a whole page of notes. This is great. So we are going to take a really super quick break. And then when we come back, we'll have a little bit more conversation. This has been so much fun. So I love it when you all give me feedback about Heart to Heart with Anna episodes. It helps me to improve the programming for all of you. You can always send me a message on Facebook. There is a Heart to Heart with Anna page, or I'm on Facebook. Just find me, Anna Marie Dagnall-Jaworski. I'm the only Anna Marie Dagnall-Jaworski. You can also find me on Instagram, LinkedIn, and you can send me email to anna@hearttoheartwithanna.com. Or you can always submit a message on our website, which is heartsunitetheglobe.com. One of Hearts Unite the Globe's biggest supporters over the years has been Baby Hearts Press, a publishing company devoted to the congenital heart defect community. We have a series of books that are anthologies of stories by members of the CHD community. I'm trying to twist Michael's arm to write for the new Heart of a Father. I would love for all of you to consider submitting an essay for one of our upcoming books. Our books are The Heart of a Mother, The Heart of a Father, The Heart of a Heart Warrior, and they have essays by people just like you. And these are inspirational stories sure to make you feel a sense of kinship with other people who have traveled in your shoes. So check out Baby Hearts Press. There is a submissions area, and you can learn about the upcoming books that we are working on. And I'm sorry to see that Chris left, because one of the new books that we'll be working on is The Heart of a CHD Angel. And it sounds like she has 2 CHD angels that she could tell us about. So I'll be reaching out to Chris. So now back to the show. In this last segment, I would love to invite any of the audience members to go ahead and share a topic or a question if you didn't get that answered earlier. But I would love to also give you a chance to talk about Heart to Heart with Anna. Maybe what your favorite show was, or what your experience was like being a guest, or maybe a suggestion on something you think I can do that would make the show even better. This is your last chance to say something before we conclude the show. Is there anyone who'd like to share something with us?
And I?
Yes, Annie?
I know I've been a guest a couple of times on your show. Well, maybe more than a couple, but I wanted to say that one of the things I really love about your show, and you continuously do, is that you make me feel comfortable. Even when I'm in a crappy mood or I'm realizing that something that I'm talking about has altered how I feel, you're able to sort of talk me down and get me back onto the platform so that I'm able to continue with the direction we had hoped to go into or change direction. And you being the kind of host that you are and everything else has been great and so great. That's why I chose to continue working with you in other ways because I knew that you put out a wonderful podcast that a lot of people, as they find, they just become so amazed and happy that they have somewhere to listen and go to as a parent, as a family member, as a patient, and anything else in between. So thank you for all that you've done and continue to do.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's been such a joy to work with you and Ayrton on the CHC podcast and all the other amazing volunteers we have working with that podcast as well. I have absolutely loved every minute that I've worked with you guys. You are so much fun to work with. I have to give a plug to Toastmasters because I was painfully shy as a kid. And even as an adult, I was really, really shy. I know most of you probably don't believe that, but Toastmasters really helped to bring me out of my shell. Hey, Aubrey. Aubrey's joining us. And I've been in Toastmasters now for 23 years. That is what helped me to find my voice. And it taught me about active listening and just let me know that I had something worth saying, something worth sharing. So thank you. Thank you so much for saying that. That really is kudos to Toastmasters, probably more than anything. Ayrton, now it's your turn, love.
Hot to Hot with Anna was the first chance I had to talk to anyone publicly about Edward and losing him. And you just made the experience so nice and welcoming. And you were just a random person I added on Facebook.
I know, and now we've met in person. I've actually been able to give Ayrton a hug in real life, which is just awesome. And I feel like you're one of my dearest friends. So that I know I was going to say I've adopted you. You're my hurt kid. So, not that I wanted that, and I really hope that we find a cure for this drug-induced LQTS, so you don't have to deal with it anymore, and then you can just be a dear, dear friend. So thank you for saying that. I absolutely have loved getting a chance to visit with you and to work with you on the CHC podcast. So that's just lovely. Michael.
You mentioned having something to say, and I wanted to talk about that. When I was a kid and I was in college, I did radio. So I had a little bit of background. I played music, I edited dramatic programs, directed dramatic programs, did the news. I had some experience. So when the idea of podcasting came around, I said, well, this is really something that I should be doing, and I really want to. And I had a lot of technical capability here. I've got a lot of machinery, but what I didn't have was something to say. And being on Heart to Heart with Anna, which then led subsequently to Bereaved But Still Me, you gave me something to say. And I thank you for that because I haven't shut up now for almost 8 years.
And look at all the lives you have touched, Michael. You have been amazing. And look at what you've taught me. I think one of the things I love best about our partnership is that we continue to learn from one another. And that has been really, really special for me. So thank you for being a compliment guest.
It has been a good give and take.
Yeah, it's been
it really has.
wonderful. It really, really has. I mean, you've been able to explain some of the technical aspects of podcasting I really didn't know about. You've given me jargon, you've given me vocabulary, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're amazing.
No.
You know you're amazing.
That's not for me to say. That is not for me to say.
Well, I want to thank all of you again for being here. You all are so amazing. You took an hour out of your busy life Annie's driving and she's still here with us. I mean, you guys are just fabulous. I love you all so much. And I was really scared to do a live show because, like I shared, I have had some disasters with live shows. Wasn't sure that I really wanted to do this, but I thought it's time to shake things up. And you guys have made me a fan again of doing a live show. Having a big studio audience like this. This has just been so much fun. I can't wait to do next month. And I will do a live show the third Tuesday of the month in October and November and December. And I hope that you all will join me for that again. It would be so much fun. And Joey, I hope you start your own podcast, baby. I know you can do it. You will be amazing. You have such a fantastic personality, and I know you have things to share with the world that the world needs to hear.
Well, thank you so much for saying that because you've been very successful yourself. So that means a lot coming from you.
I love you, baby.
I love you.
Thank you so much, everybody, for coming today. That does conclude this episode of Heart to Heart with Anna. Thanks for listening today. I'd like to take a moment again to thank our newest sponsor, HeartWorks. We're so excited to work alongside you as we all envision a world without congenital heart defects. But until that time, remember, my friends, you are not alone.
Thank you again for joining us this week. We hope you have become inspired and empowered to become an advocate for the congenital heart community. Heart to Heart with Anna with your host, Anna Jaworski, can be heard at any time wherever you get your podcasts. A new episode is released every Tuesday from noon Eastern Time.